three. All right. Hey there, you guys. My name is Gino. Welcome to Contractors Mastermind 2020 edition. Hashtag COVID, which is we're still in the mess. I want to welcome to the show Jack Hanks. Jack, welcome.
Thank you.
Feel free to introduce yourself, your business, what you do, how long you've been in business, and kind of start us rolling from there.
Right. Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited. This Zoom thing is a whole new creature for us, man. I'm used to being out and about, but it's a little bit, we're trying to stay in the office more out of the way of people. But my name is Jack Hanks. Like you said, I'm a licensed public adjuster. I'm actually vice president of a company called Skipton Claims, and we're based in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Wow.
However, we're licensed and operating in 38 different states around the country, plus Puerto Rico. So we're constantly on the go. It's been a little touch and go the last 30 days, but I'm actually getting ready to head back out this afternoon to some claims in the Midwest. And I was in Denver last week, so we're starting to kind of get our groove back a little bit. So thank God. Yeah, I'm ready.
So you're all over the place.
San Juan to Seattle and everywhere in between. Yeah, very much so. It's crazy. It's good though. Fun.
So how long are you the owner of the business? How long y'all been in business? I'm not sure.
I'm the vice president. This is actually our 27th year in business. I started doing this in 1992 myself. So I've been here about 3 years, and we've grown to about $100 million a year company, which is great. So things are crazy. The more damage people have, the more busy we get. All these disasters coming up recently has been last couple of years have been nuts. So between hurricanes and tornadoes like you guys experienced, and the wildfires in California, it's been pretty much nonstop for the whole 3 years.
So leading up to this point, from beginning to now, what have been kind of some of the, well, first, what made you want to get into this business, but also what have been some of your like the biggest challenges kind of growing over the years? You know,
Sure.
We're going to talk about 2020 and what's going on currently in a moment, but like leading up to this point, like what have been some of those challenges you had to overcome and growing the business?
So I was a restoration contractor for about 20 years. We were licensed and going in about 10 different states at once. And, I was State Farm, Farmers, Liberty. I was doing all the big boys work all around the country. And it actually got to the point where they were actually running my business for me. When they tell you how much you're going to get paid and where to go, they're basically your partner at that point. And the mailman was my best friend. If that check didn't get mailed, we're carrying $4 or $5 million at a time.
Right.
And you have 2 kids ready to go to college, it gets really old. So I've known the Skiptons since we kind of both, David, who owns the company, and I both started this business about the same time. So we've been pretty good friends for about 20 years. And we finally got to the point after him chasing me around for a few years to come over. I shut my business down and took this as a challenge. And it was actually probably the best thing professionally I've ever done. Because now we wear capes and we do great things for people, and we're out there advocating for them. So it's been a real nice change. It feels good to fight for their behalf and get these people taken care of properly. But yeah, the reason I got out of the contracting thing was just purely cash flow. I mean, you can't fund a business when you're owed $4 or $5 million at a time.
Right.
And it's all paper. The bank doesn't want to touch you because that work's already done. So you're just waiting for, like I said, the mailman was a big thing, and I got tired of all that life. And this is a much better end of it. I think that's why we have such strong relationship. I'm all referrals now. All my guys are roofing contractors and general contractors around the country, and I kind of know what they go through and sympathize with them because I lived that life for so long. And you learn from that, and you kind of carry it into this business. And hopefully, our job is to get these guys taken care of, to give them the proper amount of money. It's a big deal. These insurance companies are not our friend, as most people know. So.
Yeah, I've heard stories. So
yeah,
kind of leading into where we're at currently, what is 2020? Interesting enough, it's been a new decade of all that. I remember like when we were coming into the new year, it was like everyone was all excited about 2020. Little do you know.
Best year of our lives, right?
I'm in Nashville. We've had like 3 tornadoes. I'm waiting for a hurricane and a blizzard.
If you get a hurricane, let me know. We'll all be in good shape.
Yeah, real.
Well, 2020, it's been it's been good and bad, of course. I mean, the bad is this is a different world we're all living in. I think precautions need to be taken. I think it needs to be taken seriously. At the same time, you have the extremes, right? So I'm always kind of somewhere in the middle of all this. But I mean, it's been different. It's created a lot of different opportunities for us. I mean, I've done 30 of these Zoom meeting things and Zoom sales conferences. It's been great. I find it's a much better way to get our name and our brand out there quickly.
Right.
At the same time, I'm fairly old school. I like seeing the clients, visiting them in person, going to lunch, having a beer and a steak. We just haven't been able to do that this time, and we adapt quickly and move on. And if you didn't, I think this time it was a lot of people are not going to make it out because they got so entrapped in what they're doing they couldn't change. We're doing a lot of things virtually, just Google Earth and droning and I mean, we have all these different programs we use anyway, but now it's really enhanced all that
Right.
to get us to do a lot of things, through Zoom and through conferences like this. And it's good and bad, but like I said today, I'm jumping back on the airplane and kind of getting back out there. I know Texas is open, Carolinas are getting open, Florida's open. I don't know about Tennessee, but I heard it's getting close as well.
It's all over the place, man.
Yeah.
We're in the
So,
South. Like half the people are out, half the people are in. I don't even think
well,
it's a firm decision.
it's all very random. I was in California over the weekend, and the beach closed 3 or 4 different times there because they couldn't. A billion people go instead of like 10, and it creates more of a problem. So
Right.
it's a very confusing time for a lot of people, and not much. I mean, everybody has their own agenda, right? The government and the independent people and politicians are all different pages, and the scientists. So I think that's the issue,
Get lost on that. Oh my
dude, right?
I remember when this is there. You get lost in conspiracies, but
I just want to sit at a bar and have a beer and watch a football game. That's kind of what I'm ready to do.
Yeah, right. I mean, so what are you doing to like adjust to, you're mentioning a lot of stuff with technology, with the COVID stuff, what are you noticing like that even contractors and like roofers are needing to do to kind of adjust to this time? Like, what are some of the measures of either bringing in new business, reacting and kind of working with the customers, to a safer place? I know some guys are wearing, I was talking to a guy out in Maryland, they said they're going whole like bodysuited up kind of thing. And it's like, they're just trying to keep people safe, but it's just like, there's so much of unknowns that are going on. And, another thing too, is like, I don't mean to extend this question out too long, but I've talked to a couple of people, they're like speculating, man, I know this, you can get lost in this, but like, what if this were to last another year, 2, 3 years? I mean, what would that do for contractors as a whole? Your business. What does that look like?
Well, I think the good news in all of this is, thank God, construction was considered an essential business, because I've been through 3 recessions the last 20 years, and the reason why those were so bad and people lost everything was because construction and real estate stopped, right?
Yeah.
And that's what drives the economy, is construction and real estate. And thank God those 2 things are still booming, and the guys are able to go to work. And a lot of my roofing contractors and GCs and restoration guys, I mean, they're doing the no contact inspection thing. They'll get up on a roof, they'll drone it, they'll email the client the video of the drone, they'll do everything through DocuSign. There's a lot of smart people in the world to adapt to this kind of thing, and I think a lot of it's going to continue after this thing, because I mean, people, number one, are freaked out. Number two, if the technology's here, and it's actually fairly cost effective as well, knock this stuff out virtually and be done with it. Save gas, save trips, help with the environment as well on that. But I mean, it's either adapt or go home at this point for 99% of us, I think. I mean, everybody's business has changed, and I feel bad for the guys working in hazmat suits at the grocery store, for God's sake. It's tough. So, but survival of the fittest, and nobody out, we're all in the same boat, right? So you got to just be smart, and the big thing is, I've been warning the guys, whatever the customer wants is what we all need to do. If they're comfortable with a mask and gloves, great. If they want the full meal suit deal, then that's what we'll need to do to make them comfortable. They're the one at the end of the day we got to serve and protect. So it's crazy. But the biggest thing I've noticed is the traveling. I've been on a plane a couple times, and it's extreme, right? It's either people full-blown mask and going crazy, or the people who give a rat's behind, and there's no middle, right? So it's a very strange time in airports and planes and hotels, and it's very stressful because everybody's different. Everybody's handling it mentally different. Honestly, my big fear to this whole thing is the mental capacity of all this and mental health behind it, because so many people are losing jobs and money and things like that, and their relatives are sick and you can't see them in nursing homes, that they're having a lot of mental strain and things with this. I think it's going to be much worse than the actual virus. What's going to happen 6 months to a year to 2 years, the far-reaching effects of this mentally
Right.
on the population. I don't know how you put a price tag on that. I mean, I couldn't even imagine if I couldn't see my friends and family, and I mean, it's crazy. I think that's going to create a lot of divorce and therapy, and a lot of stuff like that's going to pop up that wouldn't have otherwise happened, I think. So.
Well, it's also interesting, you know, like I've been talking, like you're like the mental, like you got to think from the customer's standpoint, you got to think from the contractors that are working with them. You know, I've talked to some guys that like that door knock their whole, you know, that's what their business thrives off of. You know, I talked to one guy in Virginia who's like, business hasn't really stopped and they're continuing to interact like that. But then you talk to people like in different parts of the country, for example, like Nashville, like half the people aren't even opening the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, where is that middle ground? Is there, you know, it's crazy. It's interesting though.
Well, like I said, I think people are adapting it. I mean, the roofing industry has changed quite a bit. I mean, thank God for drones and Zoom meetings and things like that. These guys are being, I mean, the guys I work with are smart anyway. They just, within a day or two, they had this thing kind of dialed in on what they needed to be and what they need to do. And be cognizant of your audience is the big key. You know what I mean? Never assume, because that's going to get everybody in trouble. So everybody's got different tastes and preferential, you know, this thing doesn't really faze me. I'm not too worried about it. Yeah. But yet my mom, who's 82 years old, I would worry about her answering the door for, you know what I mean? That's kind of stuff you worry about. So.
We'll talk to you more about, you know, your business in particular. I know we mentioned a couple things before we started hopping on the call, but like, how are you adjusting and having to kind of, you're mentioning stuff. I'm not sure if you wanted to dive deeper into this with like insurance companies and different things, or like ways they're kind of putting some stuff off. Like, how are you adjusting to that? You know, what is that looking like in terms of COVID, but also like moving forward with this too?
Well, I mean, you know, our job is to get these carriers on board to pay these claims, and no matter what obstacles we have in front of us or challenges. But you know, the insurance company, what we've seen is they're using this as an obstacle, right? We have a State Farm claim. State Farm won't even let their guys on the roof with us. So it's been difficult to inspect a property loss on a hail or wind claim when you can't sit there and basically talk to the adjuster on site about the claim. They want to do everything from the ground or from over the phone. Well, there's nothing like looking at a claim together and like, well, they can't really not see something when you're pointing it out to them. So the insurance carriers for years have been using delay, deny, defend tactics, and this is just another thing they've used in their hip pocket, in their bat belt to defend these claims off. There was I don't know if you saw, but about a week ago, something came out where the president of Chubb Insurance had a meeting with all his wealthier stockholders and came out to confess that this may be their most profitable quarter ever, because their expenses are way down. Their claims are getting paid way down, but the premiums are still coming in. So they're making boatloads of money during all this, and by still not paying out the claims properly. So it's one more, people don't think about that, right? So if you're the claims are still there, they're just not getting paid out as fast, and they're not servicing them like they should. And that's hurting the policyholder, but they're being profitable. And at the end of the day, that's all they really care about, is being profitable, not being fair. Their job is to be profitable. And our job is the opposite. We're out there making sure these guys do what they say they're going to do, pay these claims, get these people whole, get these contractors paid, to get these claims handled. So it's been a lot of weird stuff going on. We're involved in a lot of the restaurant and bar litigation around the country, where I'm sure you've seen this on Facebook. There's been a bazillion different postings about it. These companies who are basically out of business have this, this virus exclusion, and the companies are, the insurance companies are standing by their exclusions, as well they probably should. But Trump came out about 3 weeks ago and demanded that they start repealing these exclusions. So it's going to be a long, drawn-out claim on that, because there's going to be billions of dollars owed if that does go through. And of course, the last thing the carrier wants to do is pay out billions of dollars when they don't want to, even though they have the money to pay that. But it's an interesting world right now, and it's our lives are. I mean, we've never been as busy as we are, thank God. But it's got its different challenges for sure. So
What do you see in terms of next 6 months, year, 1 to 5 years, even? Like, and I know it's kind of weird to throw
yeah.
it out there, but like even leading up to this point, like would you have, like, if you could go back 6 months, and this is like, what would you have done like differently, or what do you think contractors would have done, or different business owners would have should have
Well,
done?
I think we all would have probably spent a little bit less money at the last quarter, right? But
For real.
yeah, I think we all were taking for. I mean, us as a whole and individually. I mean, people. We love the great times and forget how bad the bad times are. And we came out of recession a few years ago, and we kind of went high on the hog again. So
Yeah.
I think people need to like hunker down and save for a rainy day, because you never know. I mean, if you'd have told me in December or November that the world's going to be shut down over a pandemic, I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about? That it's not even reality, right? So weird stuff happens. A majority of us as individuals in the population don't do our own. We don't save because it's never going to come, right?
Yeah.
Bills come in, kids go to college, they need braces, whatever. It doesn't stop, and we don't do a very good job as a country and a whole of taking care of that kind of stuff. And I think that's where everybody needs to take a deep breath and kind of reaffirm what's important. And taking care of your family is number one, of course. So I mean, the last 6 weeks has been kind of a good time to do a lot of self-reflecting and take a deep breath and check the weird stuff off your list that a lot of us haven't had time to do. I've got a lot of back-end paperwork stuff I had piled up that personally I took care of right away. And the biggest thing is I got 2 kids at home. They're supposed to be in college, and they're at home now, and I'm ready to throw them off the balcony, but we're okay. So when they're 21 and 19, they're going to go out every night. They really can't. I kept explaining to them, this isn't a dad pandemic. This is a world pandemic. I didn't create this to keep them at home. So that's been our biggest challenge as a family. But they're doing everything virtually, and they start their finals actually tomorrow through Zoom. And it's. I mean, I guess the biggest thing I would have done is bought stock in Zoom in December, and I'd have been a rich man.
That's what I would have said. Goodness.
Dude, right? All that stuff. It's and I think it's been awakening. I think we all need to take advantage of this time to kind of get our shit together, so to speak.
Yeah.
So if something ever happens again, we're going to be okay, because naturally the world's a different place, and this is not going to not ever happen again. I'm assuming this is going to be a thing. So we all need to get our, just kind of keep it calm and have a plan. This shouldn't be so overwhelming as it is. And I think we feel as a society that it is, to be honest with you.
Well, it's so much mental, as you were talking about, mental and emotional. Like, it's just, I don't think anybody ever plans for any, it's like how, I don't know. Yeah. Where's that middle ground of kind of
right? Well, and then the government steps in. They have $1 trillion sitting there, and then next thing you know, Ruth Chris has 20 million, and Lakers have 5 million, and here we are with a bunch of struggling businesses around us that can't get $30 out of the government. So they have a lot to learn on their side as well. So some people don't need to be taken care of. Like, we're fine, thank God. We don't need any stimulus money. We're cranked up. But a lot of roofing companies, a lot of guys do. There's restaurants in our little office complex here that are just closed, and those guys, they never come back, man. That's the sad stuff. That's the sad stuff. So.
What's your business plans, goals, next 6-month year, continuing forward from here?
Yeah, well, I mean, my big thing is I'm going to get back on the road. I'm a big, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm really good. I'm tight with all my clients, and I'm a big in-person guy, so I want to jump back on the road. And I'm usually gone, honestly, 15, 20 days out of the month anyway. We have not been able to do so. I want to keep those personal contacts as a priority. If they're comfortable with that, of course. But I'm a big sit down and let's talk guy. So I miss doing that. The clients need that. They deserve that. So part of my plan is after, June 1st, whatever things are back to semi-normal, is to start cranking out and go seeing all my guys, all my people, and just sitting down, seeing how they're doing, and planning for the next wave of hurricanes and/or disasters that are coming around the corner. That's kind of my big thing, is just to kind of get back onto the road and see everybody once again. It's been a long couple months, to be honest with you. So, yeah.
All right, last one. We'll wrap this up here. Any advice, thoughts, rude remarks, however rude they may be, just throw it out there. Anything you want to add?
No, I appreciate the time, and like I said, keep us in mind. Everybody has claims. We work really hard to make sure our clients are taken care of. The biggest thing I can tell you guys is your insurance company is not your friend. No matter how many commercials they run with Chris Paul and Aaron Rodgers and these other guys, they are not your friend. They're here to make a profit,
Yeah.
as every company in the world does, to turn profit. That's their job. And our only job as a public adjusting entity is to make sure that our clients are made whole, period. And that's all we ask. We don't ask for a nickel more. If they're owed $1 million, I'll get them $1 million. I'm not going to get them $2 million. We'll get them $1 million. So that's the idea. We don't overcharge. We don't overinflate insurance claims. Our only job is to get a fair value for what they're owed, period. Right. And that's the big thing. And just get a professional on your side every time is what my suggestion would be. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for hopping on the show, man.
It was awesome.
I'm going to wrap up this recording here in just a second. 1, 2.